Welcome, everyone. We're going to give you just a minute or two to join. And I want to let everyone know that we'll be recording the webinar today. Geeti Stillwell will kick us off. Geeti, go ahead.
Great. Thank you, Gretchen. Welcome, everyone. Today, we will announce the results of the annual ULI Hines Student Competition. My name is Geeti Stillwell, and I had the pleasure of serving as jury chair this year. I was also a member of the jury for the competition last year in Oakland. A quick introduction about me. I lead the West Coast urban design practice at Perkins & Will. Perkins & Will is a research-based global design practice. And I also serve as a board member of Area Research, which is Perkins & Will's 501c3 nonprofit arm. And the goal of the nonprofit is to connect design professions and research institutions and innovative research to improve the built environment and, by extension, to improve the lives in our communities. My over 2 decades of experience in career has focused on inspiring places of inclusivity, of innovation, and integrated multi-purpose urban design solutions. And my hope is always to push and create healthy cities and regenerative environments. At ULI, I've been a member of ULI's Public Development and Infrastructure National Product Council, and I have served both as ULI's San Francisco Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee member, and also have been available as advisors on multiple ULI advisory services panel. So that was a quick intro on me. Moving on to the agenda today. Our agenda will begin with an introduction of our jury members. I'll share a few stats about this year's competition and a review of the vision and criteria of the brief. Then I'll hand it over to my jury members here, and they'll announce 5 honorable mentions. And we want to share 6 notable submissions. We'll hear from Bob Foley, a member of one of the ULI product councils, who will announce an additional benefit that the ULI product council that he leads has created for members of the non-winning finalists teams. Then my jury members will announce this year's final 4 teams. Let's begin with an introduction of the jury members. The jury members reviewing the financials included Charlie Long, Christina Blackwell, Terrence Cooper, Alex Fraser, and Karen Hostman. Charlie and Terrence were members of the jury focused on last year's ULI Hines competition, which was in Oakland, California. And Alex is based in the Charleston region and offered a local perspective to keep the jury members grounded. Next up were jury members that were focused on design. That included me, Beena Bhattacharya, Todd Richardson, Tom Leader, and Ricky Nishimura. Tom, Beena, Ricky, and I served on the jury last year, and Todd was the one grounding us and keeping us Charleston real. The remaining jury members were formed and kind of brought an array of experience across development, planning, design, and research. And that included Steve Dudash, Miller Harper, Sophia Song, Rod Roche, and Jeff Baxter. Sophia and Rod were on the jury last year. Steve, Miller, and Jeff are based in Charleston region, and you can find all our bios on the competition website if you want to learn more. Very quickly, the stats of this competition. There were 99 teams registered to complete, and we received 84 complete entries, which means over 420 students were participating this year. And more than 143 faculty and industry professionals served as advisors, include many ULI members. So we had over 39 universities from the United States, from Canada, and from India this year, which was really exciting. 12 teams were made up of students from more than one university, including teams with members from different states. So there was a rich diversity in the team. On the right, you'll see there were a few team names that the jury members particularly enjoyed. Next slide. So very quickly on the vision of this year's competition. This year's brief asked you to transform the site in North Charleston into a thriving, mixed-use, and a mixed-income neighborhood. We wanted you to showcase a vision for the area that would have a positive economic impact both locally and regionally. We wanted to make sure you increase connectivity and mobility. We particularly wanted you to address issues of equity, housing affordability, and sustainability and resilience. The criteria in selecting the finalists the jury considered were primarily 4 criteria. We asked you to integrate planning and design decisions with economic feasibility. We wanted you to demonstrate awareness of design issues contributing to development that supports the vision specified in the brief. We wanted you to demonstrate attention to factors affecting the risks and feasibility of the project. And lastly, making sure that you needed to demonstrate evidence of working together as a team. And the jury considered whether the team demonstrated the potential to improve on their initial proposal. So as outlined in the challenge brief, the jury aimed to conduct a fair and thorough review of your entries, yet we still have limited time when we look at these submissions, and the 15 members of the jury spent an estimated about 300 hours learning about the challenge and reviewing your entries. And each entry received an initial review and score by the 3 jurors. One focused on the finance, one on the design, and one who is from the region and is familiar with North Charleston and the region was kind of keeping us real. And then the jurors came together in those groups of 3 to discuss their initial review and select 3 to 5 submissions per group to move on to the discussions by the whole jury. And the whole jury reviewed each entry on the shortlist, which were about 23 entries, and each juror selected 4 entries that they thought should move on to the finalists. The combined selection resulted in the final 4 we will announce today, which we're very excited to share. Just to let you know, we had to make very tough decisions. So many projects were excellent and none was perfect. But we hope that regardless of whether your team makes it to the finals, you had an invaluable learning experience and that you are proud of your work. We and the jury certainly were impressed with the amount and the quality of work, and given that you had just 2 weeks to work on. With that, we will get on to the announcement of the winners. And we'll kick it off with Steve, who'll announce 2 of the honorable mention teams. Steve, over to you.
Well, thank you very much. It was a highlight of my career to be here, to be able to serve on this jury. And I was very excited to be a part of that. I'm Steve Dudash. I'm the Director of Special Projects for the Navy Yard here in North Charleston, right next to the project site. The Navy Yard is a joint venture of Jamestown and 2 local developers, Jane Weaver and William Cogswell. I have been working in this area, the low country of South Carolina and the Southeast for about 40 years now. I'm a landscape architect and land planner. Some projects that I have worked on here locally, maybe you might have heard of Daniel Island and Ion, and now I'm here at the Navy base working on the redevelopment of the Navy Yard. I'm also on the Board of Governors for ULI South Carolina. I serve on the DEI committee, as well as being past chair of the Sustainable Leadership class that was here. And I'm also serve on the Tech and Real Estate Product Council Gold for at the national level. So I'm proud to be serving here as a juror, like I said. So I'm going to talk about the first 2 honorable mentions, then I'll turn this over to Karen, but we're announcing these in order by their application number. So I'll read the team's description of the proposal, and then we'll share a statement from the jury as to what stood out about each of the proposals to make it an honorable mention. And each team will receive some additional feedback from the jury as well. So the first one is the stage. The stage is a $953 million development spread over 3 phases. This is the stage from Cornell University was the team. The stage offers cultural-based tourism to kickstart its mixed-use development while creating an investment for affordable housing and resiliency in the second phase with bioswales and other green infrastructure. The Beat Avenue will be a cultural corridor accessible to pedestrians and cyclists while preserving and promoting African-American culture through various programming activities, including 3 main stages for performances. The proposal includes a comprehensive transit system that is pedestrian and cyclist friendly. The stage carefully evaluates floodwater storage capacity and addresses this by incorporating a sunken public plaza on one of the waterfront parcels, as well as a park facing the Cooper River. Rooftops are considered for a variety of uses throughout the building typologies, including a stage, footbridge, and garden rooftop. The total redevelopment value is $954 million. And as the jurors, we were certainly impressed by this plan and the internal value actually that the plan offered as an idea. So that was one of the things that really captured us. The jury statement. This is a well-rounded project which stood out for its site plan. The plan provides a variety of uses and experiences which appear attractive and inviting with the sensitivity to the different edges. The team provided a lot of good analysis and a real integration of resilience and sustainability concepts, including multiple strategies for absorbing water around the site. And the team members are listed along with their academic and professional advisors. Anchored from Texas A&M University. Anchored pays homage to the site's maritime heritage while promoting density with mid-rise apartments and a retail hub. This mixed-use development takes advantage of the community's formalized plans for rapid transit and incorporates various mobility and walking trail options throughout the development. Highlights of the 3 phases include residential and hotel investments in phase 1, retail and senior citizen housing anchored by the Mary B. Bethune Community Center in phase 2, and repurposing various buildings, including an 86,000 square foot warehouse into a dedicated space for education and the arts, as well as entrepreneurial center in phase 3. Affordable housing exists throughout the entire development rather than one designated area. Salt marshes will be restored along the Cooper River to enhance scenic views. With total project cost at $353 million, the total redevelopment site value is $530 million, which offer investors a 23% leveraged IRR while providing affordable housing at a rate of 25%. The jury statement. This project thoughtfully introduced a mix of great building typologies and did their homework regarding the history of the area. We love the site plan and the name. They were very clear as to what they saw as community benefits and their proposal. So the team members and the advisors. Now I'll turn it over to Karen.
I'm not sure if you can see me. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you, Karen.
Okay, good. And I think hopefully you can see me now. So hi, everyone. I'm Karen Horstman, and I was recently the head of acquisitions at Allianz Real Estate of America. And prior to that, I launched and scaled the US business, the real estate platform for Norges Bank. Some people call it NBIM, the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund. That was from 2011 to 2019. Earlier than that, I had worked in principal real estate based in London, first for Goldman Sachs, the Whitehall funds, and then I had co-founded a first-time fund focused on retail and mixed use in Western and Eastern Europe. I've been a ULI member for 16 years, since 2007, and I currently have gotten pretty involved recently, but I currently serve on the Americas Executive Committee, the Global Governing Board of Trustees, the Foundation Investment Committee, and both a national and a New York City-based mixed-use council. So first, I will announce the first 3 honorable mentions and celebrate our list of notable projects. I would also just echo what Steve said. This has been just an honor to see all of the work that has gone into this. Really tremendous effort. So first, we'll start with the spine, as you can see on the screen. The spine team aspired to work in conjunction with the city of North Charleston to attract a prominent and magnetic anchor tenant, in this case, NASA, to reinvent and drive the neighborhood forward. They oriented a mixed-use community around a new 25,000 square meter research and innovation center with office and lab space, educational centers, a planetarium, space deck, museum, and library. The team also aims to add 147 low-income and 1,577 affordable housing units. The program includes mixed-income housing, a history walk, a rail park, and open space amenities like a community garden. The spine combines flood walls, gates, and a berm with an elevated plaza to address flooding. The development includes a pedestrian spine for dynamic movement in and around the co-working spaces and housing units, and a residential and retail spine that includes various levels of mixed income housing on floors above ground level retail. The total project value is 1.17 billion, with project costs of 815 million. So a very ambitious and thoughtful project. So the jury statement. The jury recognized Spine for its ambitious and innovative plan to attract and support an anchor tenant and growth hub, and to design a concept around that sector to promote the local economy, provide education and work opportunities to the community, and serve as a draw to the broader region and visitors. So team members and advisors for Spine are listed on your screen now. Well done. The next one we'll be discussing is called Agrogenesis. Agrogenesis is a 3.6 million square foot mixed use development spread over 4 phases, with total project costs estimated at 417.5 million and a total development value of 573 million. The Agrogenesis team worked to deliver an ambitious design focused on economic accessibility and access to food, leveraging the inherent quality of the soil and utilizing vertical farming. Their plan includes over 700,000 square foot of commercial and retail, a library, a hotel, and 675 residential rental units. Their urban farming focused plan prioritizes sustainability with flood-resistant landscapes. It takes advantage of connecting with the waterfront and incorporates green spaces throughout. In addition to physical resilience, Agrogenesis facilitates agritech commercial and entrepreneurial activity in coordination with local organizations. So jury statement. This team leveraged the location's heritage and inherent advantages to address local needs and build the neighborhood's brand identity to make it a destination. Their focus on addressing the food desert was solid from start to finish. We especially like the well thought out phasing and distribution of communal spaces. Team members and advisors from Agrogenesis are listed here. Well done, University of Calgary, there you go. Okay, and the third one that I will introduce is called Riverline. So Riverline is a $2.86 billion development that'll deliver over 2 phases and cost $2.33 billion. Riverline's clear and comprehensive plan is centered around professional skills development, inclusive housing, underlying economic and commercial activity, and a connected, resilient neighborhood. Green elements include a $122 million investment in multifaceted stormwater management measures, marshland restoration, greenhouses, and agricultural plots, in conjunction with a $52.5 million park investment, including a waterfront recreation area with some pretty cool graphics around that, including a boardwalk and pier. The River Line provides 25% of units at 50% AMI. And these units are funded by entitlement incentives, allowing greater density, taller buildings, and reduced parking requirements. In addition to thoroughly researched funding sources, the team incorporated a neighborhood REIT owned by nonprofit agencies, private corporations, and market shareholders, together with government agencies, which was pretty creative. The initial 10-year development scope includes 1,100 market rate and 320 affordable residential units, totaling $1 billion, together with 20,000 square foot of retail and 160,000 square foot of office. The jury statement for Riverline: this team offered excellent communication of very clear objectives that drive the rationale of their design. They identify how the site relates to its surroundings, with a focus on food availability, economics, internet access, and more. They demonstrated cohesive, collaborative teamwork, thoughtful consideration of funding sources, and a significant investment in flood control. So the Riverline's team members and advisors are listed here. So here we have the honorable mentions one more time: the Stage and Accord, Spine, Agrigenesis, and Riverline. There's also some other notable projects that this year's jury wanted to recognize. So here's a list of projects that didn't quite make honorable mention, but were still excellent proposals. So these projects were Flow, High-Low, New City Flux, The Fleet, Charleston, 360, and Cooper Commons. So very well done. I am so personally impressed. This is my first year judging, and the thought that went into everyone's proposal and the time and effort. If only you guys had more time, I can't imagine what would grow from this, but very impressive, creative, and thorough proposals. So thank you for letting me be a part of this. It's an honor. And with that, I will hand it over to Bob Foley.
Thanks, Karen. Good afternoon, everyone. It's, as Karen said, a real honor to be involved in this process. And it's really exciting too. My thanks to the ULI staff and to all the jurors for choreographing yet another successful year for this competition. And congratulations to every team and every team member for having the gumption, commitment, and energy to participate in this year's competition. On the screen in front of you, this is not part of my prepared remarks, but this is our ULI council meeting several years ago in Seattle. That's Lake Union in the distance, and you can see Jerry Hines in the back on the right, just where the right wood panel and the rear wood panel intersect. So this is about 55 members of the council, of which I am a part and which Mr. Hines was a part of for many years. My name is Bob Foley. I'm a partner with TPG Real Estate, and I'm also Chief Financial Officer of TPG Real Estate Finance Trust, which is a $5 billion publicly traded real estate investment trust here in the United States. We are affiliated with TPG, which is a large global alternative asset manager with about 135 billion of assets under management today. My 35+ year career in real estate has been primarily as a principal investor in real estate debt and equity, and I've been involved in virtually all property types here in the States and in Europe. But what's important for today is I have been a member of ULI for decades. For me, ULI has been a real conduit for professional growth, for lifetime learning, for social service, and for fun in building a national and global network of lifelong friends from all sectors of the real estate industry. ULI's diverse membership is, in my opinion, its greatest strength and biggest value. ULI is a big organization, more than 9,000 members here in North America and over 40,000 members globally. The fundamental building block of ULI is the Product Council, picture of which you can see here, through which much programming is conceived and presented, and through which valuable lifelong professional and personal relationships are forged. In the US alone, ULI currently has more than 50 councils, each comprised of 50 to 60 members. Councils are organized around themes, ranging from industrial, retail, multifamily, to transit-oriented development, affordable and workforce housing, and public-private partnerships, and virtually everything in between. Many ULI members seek full membership on a council that aligns with their professional activity and personal interests. I'm currently chair of UDMUC Silver. UDMUC in ULI speak means Urban Development Mixed Use, which is a perfect mix for the scale, scope, and theme of the projects that all of you have conceived and presented in this year's competition. It seems fitting that Jerry Hines, who founded and endowed this great competition more than 2 decades ago, was for many years a member of our council, which he enjoyed and which honored us greatly. Jerry's intellect, wit, enthusiasm, experience, and unique perspective was a bonus to every member of our council. And that's why I'm here today. Over more than 6 decades, Mr. Hines transformed, professionalized, and globalized commercial real estate development, investment, ownership, and design. At UDMUC Silver, we've honored Jerry's enormous impact on our industry, on ULI, and on our council by establishing a fund that enables each year at least 3 finalists from this competition to attend a fall meeting of ULI. In this year's instance, that will be in October of this year in Los Angeles. We invite more than 3 finalists from non-victorious teams to attend, all expenses paid. Attendance includes travel, lodging, registration for the broader program, and joining UDMUC Silver on its council day, which is really interesting, and for a small private hosted dinner the night before. We estimate the value of this benefit at $4,000, but in my opinion, like the commercials say, the value to you may be priceless, especially if you choose to forge a career in real estate. So we hope our guests will have a very positive experience, they have in the past, and become full members of ULI during their careers in real estate. The ULI staff will later explain the details for selection. My advice for now, focus on this competition, strive to win, but if you don't, you may just be our guest in LA this fall. So on behalf of all of my fellow UDMUCers, good luck. Christina?
Hello. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. Perfect. Hi, everybody. My name is Christina Blackwell, and I currently serve as a Senior Vice President and the Houston Manager for the Commercial Real Estate Group at First Horizon Bank. We are a $90 billion bank based out of Tennessee, but I am in the Houston office. I've been in commercial real estate since I graduated from Texas A&M. So it's been about 20 years in real estate at various financial institutions. I started really, interacting with ULI when I lived in LA. So that was my first membership was with them through various committees. And then when I moved back to Houston, I got really involved with our Houston group and served on several committees, sporting plays, development distinction awards, the women's initiative. So thoroughly enjoy ULI and all the great things that they do. So I am honored that I get to announce the first 2 finalists. We are announcing these in order by application number. I'll share a brief description of the project from the submission materials that y'all gave, and then a statement from the jury on what really stood out about each proposal to why it made a finalist. And the finalists will receive more extensive and critical feedback from the jury so that they can expand and redefine their proposals ahead of the final event. So without further ado, the first one is the Knot Charleston from Harvard University. The Knot is a new vision for complete living in North Charleston, tied together by food, drawing on the highest aspirations of LEED, WELL, and the Living Community Challenge. This mixed-use project synthesizes these certifications with the city's unique context to create a well-connected, affordable, and enriching place to live for generations. The Knot is a 3.6 million square foot, 843 million development that proposes acquiring the site through a combination of fee simple purchases of the private parcels while entertaining long-term ground leases with the city of North Charleston to acquire the publicly owned parcels. The project will cost $687 million, and the financing strategy for the Knot uses the value generated from the market rate multifamily to cross-subsidize the community-oriented uses across all phases. And this was the jury statement. This team provided an extremely well-planned and thoughtful proposal. They offered a regional vision and produced clear diagrams showing ties to the history of the area. They did thorough market research, and their development plan has a great mix of uses that is very community-oriented, contributing to vitality. Their site plan offers multiple scales with porosity and interconnections throughout. There is a solid hierarchy of public spaces, and you can tell how the distribution of the program reinforces the outdoor spaces. The economics of their program make sense, and this proposal could serve as a solid framework for other developments in the region. The team members for the Knot Charleston are Young-Soo, Tomas, Ben, Emily, and Richaya. So congratulations. So the next one that I'll announce is the Quilt from the University of Virginia. The Quilt is a 1.62 million square foot mixed-use development, which will be built out in 2 phases over 6 years, guided with 3 pillars of community, ecology, and connectivity in mind. The Quilt is a vibrant mixed-use development which creates an activated waterfront. This edge is plugged into by a series of landscape, pedestrian-friendly areas that act as a sponge, protecting the North Charleston community from the escalating threat and devastating effects of inundation. The Quilt is accessible through multiple equitable and sustainable modes of mobility, including improved public transit service and bikeability. This new and exciting LEED certified neighborhood celebrates and amplifies North Charleston's diverse population and allows the greater Charleston community to access a historically sequestered riverfront. And here is the jury statement. The team developed a thoughtful proposal with a very organized presentation. They gave a lot of attention to the end user and programming. They produced an intense set of analysis of the site, which carries through to the design. The plan offers an interesting set of uses. They talk about expanding Clemson's footprint into North Charleston, which is a very realistic partnership for development. The team members for the Quilts are Vishal, James, Andre, John, and Shinar. So again, congratulations to y'all, and I will pass it over to my fellow jury member, Jeff.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Baxter, partner and co-founder of CityVolve in North Charleston, South Carolina. We are a 10-year-old commercial real estate development company specializing in community-focused urban infill and adaptive reuse building projects throughout the Charleston region. Prior to CityVolve, I spent 10 years working with the Noisette Company on redevelopment efforts at the Charleston Navy Yard and understand the challenges, in particular, this parcel posed to your teams. I've long been active in ULI, beginning as a student member in Boston and as a participant in the inaugural ULI Hines Competition in 2003, where I was a member of the winning team that year. So it's been great to come full circle and see the competition from a different perspective. The learning experience of the competition for me was tremendous, and I can appreciate the effort that all of the teams have put into this competition. More recently with ULI, I served as South Carolina District Council Chair, Chair of Mission Advancement, And currently, I'm the South Carolina Governance Chair and on the DEI Committee. So now what we've all been waiting for, the last two finalists. Next up is Port Unity from Harvard University. Port Unity is a mixed-use development that offers a place to work and live and create along the water while helping correct historical inequities. It is a 2.2 million square foot development that will focus on residential living with creative industrial and retail serving as stabilizers. The project will deliver 2,488 units of residential, of which 24% are affordable along this dynamic waterfront, while supplying a more equitable development strategy for the community. In partnership with the city, the project will deliver 90 million worth of green, resilient infrastructure and streetscape improvements across all sites. The maritime industry's demand for labor will be met by providing collaborating mentorship spaces that connect area youth to South Carolina's HBCUs to foster industrial apprenticeships, mentorships, and other educational opportunities. Connectivity is imagined through land and water, with a bike path to the new BRT line and ferry service to Charleston. Channel cuts into the site will allow water to gather after a storm. And additionally, the site will serve as a port of refuge, sheltering residents from powerful hurricanes when necessary. The jury went on to say this is a vibrant, exciting plan that covers all the bases. They clearly did their homework and had a great understanding of the needs of the site and the region. The plan has a strong central corridor with an efficient street grid. There's excellent project connectivity linking well-situated uses throughout the development. There's an emphasis on varying scales of civic spaces. They thoughtfully engaged the waterfront with experiences, including boardwalk and boating access. And there are many vistas to the riverfront and creek. Adaptive reuse of warehouse spaces positions those well for a food hall, entertainment, and market retail. We appreciated the stormwater retention channel as well as an experimental farming next to the rail yard. I want to congratulate Alex, Katia, Christopher, Miguel, and Soman on their team. Next up is the leveling field from University of California, Berkeley. The leveling field initiative strives to mend a history of economic, educational, and environmental inequity. The site, which is situated adjacent to the Cooper River, provides a community with an opportunity to gain the necessary skills, provide higher education and vocational training centers as the spine of the proposal. The idea is expressed through a spine flanked by environmental, educational, economic programs and institutions, with each overarching program having a significant open space to itself. The 2.8 million square foot development will be completed over 4 phases. In addition to providing the much needed housing, 25% affordable, it offers 305,000 square feet of education spaces and vocational centers, 375,000 square feet of flex and co-working space for budding entrepreneurs, and the restoration of 20 acres of wetland, which will protect the neighborhood from annual flooding and extreme climate events. The jury statement. This project addressed all the objectives with a clear and consistent thought process. We appreciated their focus on equity. We appreciated that they offered ground leases as an option, if not a go-to. The financials are very competently structured with a logical and realistic capital stack and sources and thoughtful phasing. In general, their market assumptions for rents, costs, loan to value, and cap rates are good. They allocated infrastructure cost appropriately across the components and included student housing to support the development objectives and financial attractiveness. I want to congratulate the team from University of California, Berkeley, Yash, Sharisti, Sagarika, Justin, and Mahik. Here is the finalist teams once more in summary. Let's congratulate Not Charleston from Harvard University, the Quilt, University of Virginia, Port Unity, Harvard University, and Leveling Field, University of California, Berkeley. And with that, I will pass it back to our jury chair, Geety.
Thank you, Jeff. Congratulations, Harvard University, University of Virginia, and University of California, Berkeley. You all did an awesome job, and we look forward to seeing you in the finals. I do want to say thank you to every team for your thoughtful analysis and contribution to the future of North Charleston. The challenges of North Charleston, as we jurors were looking at it, are not unique, and we feel the cities across the globe are facing similar challenges. We encourage all of you to carry forward your creativity and motivation in your soon-to-begin professional careers. With that, good luck to all of you, and I'm going to transfer it back to Gretchen to finish the presentation with a few logistics and next steps that are relevant to all teams. Back to you, Gretchen.
Program really can't happen without the considerable time and effort that our jurors put into it. I just want to share a few key dates before you head off the webinar. First up, the finalists will receive jury feedback and the finalist brief by February 24, and then at least one member of each team will get to tour the site in North Charleston on March 10. Rehearsal presentations are on March 24th, and a group of ULI South Carolina members will provide feedback to the finalist teams on their presentations. And on April 6th, each team will present to the competition jury in person in North Charleston. The jury will deliberate and announce the winner that evening. We will announce the winner to the public via press release and social media channels the following week. So a few things to note for all of the teams. First, every team will receive feedback from the jury. Our goal is to send that feedback to you by the end of April. It takes a lot of processing time on our end to just clean up all the data and put it together in a meaningful way for you. So that's why it takes a bit of time, but everyone will receive some feedback. Second, we will send out feedback surveys, and we hope that all participants will share their thoughts on the competition and how we can improve. We will send separate surveys for students, faculty advisors, and professional advisors. As always, we hope that students, faculty, and advisors will consider joining the ULI Hines LinkedIn group. We formed this group to connect past and current competition participants and advisors. And all finalist submissions will be posted to our website. The submissions will be viewable at uli.org/Hines 2023 gallery. If your team wants to opt out of your submission being public, please email us at hinescompetition@uli.org by March 5. If even one person from your team requests that we remove your submission, we will remove it. So please ensure you are aligned in your decision. For those of you who utilize the tools from Esri, including ArcGIS Urban and Business Analyst, please share your feedback on those tools using this link. We will post the recording of this presentation and the slides on our website by tomorrow, so this link will be available as well there. If you would like to continue expanding your knowledge of real estate, development, and related topics using ULI Learning, we recommend the following upcoming courses. March 7, Prioritizing Parks and Open Spaces. March 14, Introduction to Real Estate Capital Markets. March 29th, Enhance Your ESG Strategy. And May 10, the Foundations of Real Estate Certificate. Competition participants can receive 15% off the above listed courses if you register by March 17th. Using the code Hines15off. Please visit learning.uli.org for more info and to see other upcoming and on-demand courses. And feel free to email learning@uli.org with any questions. We certainly hope you will stay connected with the Urban Land Institute. It's an incredible resource not only for developers, but for all professions that focus on the built environment. Our mission is to shape the future of the built environment for transformative impact in communities worldwide. And I think, as Bob mentioned, we serve over 45,000 members around the world: developers, investors, designers, planners, academics, public officials, and many others. ULI connects you directly to networking, mentoring, learning, and volunteer opportunities that can accelerate your career. We find and promote best practice and innovation in land use through our online and print magazines, websites, publications, and local events. Twice a year, we convene our members at the ULI Fall Meeting and the ULI Spring Meeting for education sessions, networking, site tours, and more. ULI offers discounted membership rates for students and professionals under age 35. You can find more information at uli.org/join. In closing, I want to thank our sponsor, Hines, and remember Gerald Hines with gratitude. ULI is so grateful for Mr. Hines's enduring vision to encourage cooperation and teamwork among future real estate professionals and the many allied professions, and his donation to ULI, which allows us to host this competition year after year.